you to stand and join us as we start our worship this morning with Fill Your Glory. In my heart, it's fire burning, a passion deep within my soul, not slowing down, not growing cold. An unquenchable flame that keeps burning brighter, a love that's blazing like the sun, who you are and what you've done. And as the fire is raging on, so your praise becomes my song. The whole earth is filled with your glory, Lord. Angels and men adore. Creation longs for what's in store. May you be honored and glorified, exalted and lifted high. And here at your feet I lay my life. Yeah. From the ends of the earth to the heights of heaven, your glory, Lord, is far and wide. Through history you reign on high. From the depths of the sea to the mountain summit, your power, Lord, it knows no bounds. A higher love cannot be found. So let the universe proclaim your great power and your great name. The whole earth is filled with your glory, Lord. Angels and men adore. Creation longs for what's in store. May you be honored and glorified, exalted and lifted high. Here at your feet I lay my life. Yeah. Amen. Welcome to Stonebridge. We're glad you're here to worship with us this morning. Invite you to join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time to be in worship of you together in this room. We ask that you fill this room with your presence and speak to us and touch our hearts in ways that only you can. We offer this next song up to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I raise a hallelujah in the presence of my enemies. I raise a hallelujah louder than the unbelief. I raise a hallelujah. My weapon is a melody. I raise a hallelujah. Heaven comes to fight for me. I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm, louder and louder. You're gonna hear my praises roar. Up from the ashes, hope will arise. Death is defeated. defeated. The King is alive. Sing a little louder. Sing a little louder. Sing a little louder. Oh, sing a little louder. I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm. Louder and louder. You're gonna hear my praises roar. Up from the ashes, hope will arise. Death is defeated. The King is alive. I'll raise a hallelujah. I'll raise a hallelujah. I'll raise a hallelujah. I'll raise a hallelujah. Amen. You may be seated.
Good morning to you. My name is Mike. If we've not had a chance to meet, it's good to have you out with us at Stonebridge this morning. Those of you watching online, good to have you with us. Couple of announcements we want to make you aware of. If Sherry is somewhere, someone find Sherry. She has an announcement. While Sherry's making her way up, we've got, we're calling it pasta and something. In fact, take those handouts at the end of your row, pass them down. I need one. If I have one, then I'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There. Those are the extras. There. I knew you wanted one. Okay. Hey, so, there it is. People in Pasta. People in Pasta is next Saturday. It is a progressive Italian dinner. We're going to go divide everybody up with people you like. Nobody likes to go to dinner with people you don't like. We understand that. All right? So we won't put you with someone you don't like. Group of you that like each other, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll go and you'll have breadsticks, salad, stuff I won't eat. And then
breadsticks.
I will have breadsticks. And then you'll go to like the main course, where it'll be lasagna, spaghetti. It won't be steak. Okay? It's going to be Italian. All right? If you don't like Italian, don't sign up. And then we'll all gather here for dessert. Sort of laugh, make fun of each other, yada, yada. How do you sign up? Use the QR code that you're going to find here on the back of this or on the chair in front of you. You can sign up that way. Let us know you're coming. I think it starts at 6. We'll be done by 8:30 or something, all right? Sherry, you've got something tomorrow for the kiddos.
I do have something tomorrow for the kiddos. We have a Lego build day here tomorrow for the kiddos. Preschool, meaning 3-year-olds and potty trained, through the 5th grade. We have just closed our preschool room because we have maxed out our registration there. But with 32 kids registered, there is still room in the kindergarten through 5th grade rooms that are separated into 3 age groups. They have all of their own Legos. They have all of their own building prompts. Everyone will leave with a master builder certificate and a prize. So tell your friends. Have your friends sign up and come with you. We are going to have so much fun.
So here's the deal with that. Straight up, being honest with you. You bring your kids, they go home with a Lego kit. Mm-hmm. You hang on to that for 40 years, you can retire. God's truth.
No, you can't. They're cheap Lego kits.
You know, Legos are like, man, they're like gold, right?
They are gold.
Yes, all right. So if you've not signed up, QR code, love to have you out tomorrow.
There's still room.
Yes, you're done. And now we're dismissing the kiddos that way. Hey, as they're making their way out, you're wondering, well, what's my next step? I've been coming to Stonebridge for a little bit. What do I do next, Mike? This afternoon, actually right after service, we have what we call Pizza with the Pastor. It's an opportunity to hang out for a little bit. We will have kind of pizza, I guess, not kind of. We'll have pizza together. We'll have something to drink. We'll talk back and forth. We'll have a chance to meet some of the staff, hear a little bit about our story. We get to hear some of your story. You're out of here in like an hour to an hour and 5 minutes, okay? Love to have you stay. Mike, I didn't sign up. No big deal. We've ordered extra pizza. We will meet in the last blue room on the left. Down there, you go down the hallway, hang a right, go down, last room on the left. We'll be in there. I'd love to have you be a part of that. Maybe you've never given. Generosity is something we talk about not because, in fact, I had a chance on a basketball court this week to talk to somebody about giving and their church and how they approach it, and he was telling me they have 2 or 3 offerings a service, and my jaw dropped. And I'm like, what, do you think people didn't get it the first go-round? Like you just squeezing it? I didn't get that part right, but he explained it to me. And he said, I just don't get it. You know, it just feels like there's a lot of push. Here at Stonebridge, we're going to talk about just being generous, because generosity releases your heart for good. And it might not be the church. It might be the rescue mission with dogs. If that's your hot button, go for it. It might be helping unwed moms. If that's your hot button, go for it. Because what we want is your heart to be free to live a free life. And when we hoard and when we hang on to things, it closes off our heart. And we don't see needs. We really put on blinders. And so what we're trying to do with the idea of generosity is just open our eyes to the world around us. Now at Stonebridge, in here, we publish our giving. You can sort of see where we are. Next Sunday, we will update these figures for the year end, all right? But you never have to wonder, hey, where's Stonebridge? How are they doing financially? Because we're going to tell you, because it's not a secret, because those are funds that people like yourself have given in a spirit of generosity. The Be the Light campaign that we had in November and December, where we encouraged extra giving, and we were going to use it towards paying down debt and just doing Christmas. Our goal was $8,500. Last I checked, the people of Stonebridge gave another $11,000. We beat the goal, and we're touching near $11,000, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. This drum set up here, somebody gave us a drum set over Christmas. That's the spirit of generosity. If you're actually hearing the drums, there's a reason you're hearing the drums, okay? It's because we can now hear the drums, right? But that was a gift of somebody from the congregation. Just in a spirit of generosity said, here, man, notice maybe the drum pads, we're hearing too much pads. And we're like, oh, well, that's all cool, all right. So that's what it's about, just having our eyes open to see what's happening in the world. And I just want to thank you for that. I'm going to pray. These guys are going to lead us in one more song, and then we're going to talk about grapes today. I've got grapes. Here's the question. Does anybody not like grapes? Would you put your hand up if you didn't like grapes? Everybody likes grapes? Good. Now get rid of them all, okay? Because you're going to get grapes here in a minute. Father, thank you that we can sing songs. Thank you that we can kind of lift our hearts. We can express what's going on inside of us. Now, for some of us, it feels forced. Some of us maybe don't have a joy about us this morning, just because of life. Maybe it's been life lived a long time, and it's made us hard. It's made us cynical. Father, I pray that for those people, that there might be something that would happen that would touch them, kind of maybe break through that cynicism. For others, they're in a period of grief, and they're just hurting. We're going to see this morning that you come alongside us and encourage us and lift us up, but I would pray that would happen. People would know they're loved, they're valued by you, you care. And others of us, we're just so glad to be here. We are mindful of what you've done in our hearts, how you've changed our worlds, what you've done in our families, what we've seen you do in our marriage. How can we not say thank you? Father, you're good to us. In Jesus' name, amen. Hey, let's stand together and sing with David.
You know, sometimes as we do the simple things in life, I think it's, at least for me, it's easy to get caught up in well, I got this. I don't need God to plan the little stuff for me. It struck me this morning. I've been dealing for a couple of weeks with just your basic sore throat, head cold, all that kind of stuff. And exchanged text messages a couple of weeks ago with Dan Estes, our other worship leader. And just on a whim, he was like, oh, I was scheduled to lead last week. I can't. Can you switch with me? Turns turns out I couldn't have even if I wanted to last week. I couldn't make it to church. I didn't have a voice. I had fever. Fast forward to this week, I'm sick all week. I'm thinking in my mind, what am I going to do? I still don't have too much of a voice, so I'm doing the Dave plans, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm going to lower every key. I'm going to simplify everything. I'm just not going to say a word until Sunday morning. I'm coming up with the Dave plans. All through the rehearsal, I'm apologizing in advance to these guys behind me. I'm like, I don't know what it's going to sound like, guys. Got through rehearsal. Throat's still a little scruffy. Get up here for the first song. It's like I didn't have a cold. Now you tell me there's not a God looking out for us. And even when we don't think we need him, it's his plans, not ours. So join me as we sing, Lord, I Need You. Lord, I come, I confess, bowing here, I find my rest. Without you, I fall apart. You're the one that guides my heart. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. I want defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Where sin runs deep, your grace is more. Where grace is found is where you are. Where you are, Lord, I am free. And holiness is Christ in me. Oh, Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. And every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. So teach my song to rise to you when temptation comes my way. When I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. Jesus, you're my hope and stay. Oh, Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. And every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. You're my one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Amen. Let's be seated.
Thank you, gentlemen. Hey, under that heading of generosity, it's kind of fun this week. I sat for a couple hours with a person that trains trainers. They're a teacher of teachers. And I had a chance to, I just wanted to pick their brain. And so, I was meeting with them. You know what it turns out? They were one of the homes that we went caroling to. And they were under the weather Christmas. They were feeling ill. and we came knocking on their door, about 10 of us. If you were there, you know it was cold, and we went caroling. That was one of the families that we went to, and she talked about what an encouragement that was to her and her husband, because they had been homebound for about 3 or 4 days because they were sick. And to have us come and just do a couple Christmas carols to them, said lifted our hearts, really made us feel like, wow, God is out there. This is Christmas. So I want to thank you to those that just gave an hour of your time to go Christmas caroling. It was a big deal, and I met somebody that you think, oh, does it really made a difference to one. So that's all cool. All right, any of you here like grapes? I've got some grapes. I'm going to have a couple of guys here. Josh, will you just kind of just spread those bowls around? Who's over here? Ian, will you just take and just spread these around? Feel free, help yourself. I got red grapes. I got green grapes. Just knock yourself out. Here, Daniel, take that one and get it going. There you go. Thanks, oh, good. Any gardeners here? Any of you do, like, I don't know, big gardens, small gardens? Heard this week the story of a lady I'm going to call Karen. I'm not sure Karen is a real name, but Karen seems to be a name that's flying around these days, so I'll use Karen. Karen had been given a plant by her daughter for Christmas. And so she was watering the plant, the thing was growing, and she was taking the pruning shears, and she was pruning it as she went along, and just the thing seemed to be growing, and she was like, oh, that pot just seems too small, right? So after about 3 or 4 weeks of watering and cutting it a little bit here and there, and just seeing this thing kind of expand, she's like, I'm going to replant it. I'm going to put it in a bigger pot. And so Karen decided she was going to do that. She had a bigger pot there, and she was trying to gently take this plant. She was trying to figure out why this plant wasn't coming out of here, and then it began to pull apart. And it wasn't long before Karen realized that the plant was fake. It wasn't a real plant. And imagine her surprise when the plant wasn't real. Sometimes that might be an apt description of our life, right? We think, oh, we get watering and try and pour stuff into our life, and nothing seems to be happening, and then we're like, oh, it's all cruddy, and like, oh, it's just not the life I wanted. This morning, I want to talk about pruning. And so with that, let's see if I can make this thing do what it's supposed to do. Jason will help me, I think. Boom.
Blessed is the man who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers. But the man who delights in the law of the Lord and meditates on his law day and night, he is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yield its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever he does prospers.
Okay, so we are week 3 in this series. Grateful for Ian, for Sean, taking the first couple of weeks. God's plan for us, in a nutshell, is that we would have full, productive lives. That's what he wants. That's his desire for you, right? Now, you have desire for your kids. Fair? If you have, in any relationship, you have a desire, you have a passion, you have my word would be, you know where you want that thing to go. Doesn't always go there, does it? Why? Because other people have a mind of their own. And while I might have a passion, a plan, a desire for how I want my marriage to go, it's not all up to me, is it? I know how I want my kids to turn out, but it's not all up to me, is it? They have a say in it, right? God's desire is that we would live long, strong, fruitful, fulfilling lives. Sean showed us last week his way for doing that, helping us to grow, is the Word, to be in it, to be people who pray, people who seek God, not trying to live life apart from God, but or independent of God, but dependent on God. And today, what I want us to look at is a teaching that Jesus gave his disciples. In fact, if you have a Bible or an app, we turn to John 15, because that's where we're going to hang out today. It's a passage that if you've grown up in church, it might be familiar to you. It might be brand new to you. But man, there's a lot of kind of interesting truth that Jesus packed in this story that he told his followers about following, about what it's like and what happens when God, the word is prune. We're going to see that in just a moment. As I said, I'm not a gardener. These are pruning shears. I have them because through the years I've had roses and rose bushes, and I will trim them back. To prune something in its simplest sense is to cut back on the plant or a vine in order that it might produce more of what it is doing. If it's a rose bush and I'm cutting it back, my desire is not to kill the rose bush, although I've been guilty of that. My desire, my hope for the rose bush is that there would be more roses. Jesus in John 15 is with his guys. The Last Supper's already happened. They've already had that last meal. Jesus is a day from going to the cross and the Garden of Gethsemane. Judas has already been a part of a conversation and left. Jesus told Judas, you go do what you're going to do, man. Now's the time. And so they all thought he was going to prepare something or get some money because he was a treasurer. But he was at that point leaving, that he was going to sell out Jesus. So Judas is gone. So all that remains is Jesus and the 11 other guys. They have a meal together. Jesus washes their feet. And then they leave. And they're walking on their way to the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus is going to spend the night in prayer, and Judas is going to reemerge and sell him out with soldiers. Along the way, as they're walking, John 15 happens. And I imagine that Jesus, as they're walking, they come across some grapevines. And Jesus says, I am the true vine, verse 1, and my Father is the gardener, and he cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, there's our word, so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I've spoken to you. Remain in me, and I will remain in you, and no branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. Verse 5, he says, I am the vine. You are the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not remain in me, he's like a branch that's thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it'll be given to you. And this is to my Father's glory, that you would bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. Let me just pause there for a second and pick up on a couple things. Jesus says in verse 1 that he is the true vine. Now, verse 5, he just calls himself the vine. But it's significant in verse 1 that he says, I am the real vine. Because there are fakes and substitutes out there. God's original plan was that Israel would be the vine, would be the source of life, because that's what the vine does. The life flows through the vine. You just had grapes. If you took grapes, you realize that what you ate, you didn't eat the brown stuff, you didn't eat the stem, you ate the fruit. There's always life in the fruit. Jesus says, I am the vine, though. I'm not the fruit. I am the vine of which the fruit is attached, which it gets its nutrients, which gets its source of energy and life and produces the fruit. I am the true vine. I am not the fake vine. I'm not a vine, like there's a whole bunch of others, and you can just choose me. He says, I am the true vine. Which means when you and I come to live life these days, where do you go for your source of life? Where do you turn to? A whole bunch of conversation these days about fake news, real news. We don't even know what to believe anymore, do you? Every time you turn around. And if you don't like it, just label it fake news. It's called fake news. It doesn't matter what's true anymore, does it? It matters, does it line up with what I want it to say, my version of truth? Jesus doesn't operate that way. He tells you the truth as it is. He says, this is the way of your heart. This is what relationships are like. This is what it's like to be successful in life. And you can go, I don't really like that. Jesus, I like this version. And he's not going to deviate. He says, I am the true vine. I am the true source of life, so that these things that are produced, the goal is, well, let's just jump on down. Look at verse 16. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. He's now speaking to his 11 guys. Remember, Judas is gone. All you have here are believers. You have followers of Christ. You don't have any fakes anymore. Judas would have been a fake. He was hanging in. You would have looked at the group. You would have said, oh, Judas is one of them. He wasn't. Jesus says to these guys, you did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you to go and bear fruit, and fruit that will last. And then the Father will give you whatever you ask in my name, and this is my command, that you would love one another. What's the goal? What's the goal that a gardener has for the vineyard? It's to produce grapes. That's the whole point. Now, I didn't know this. Some of you are wine connoisseurs. I guess we live in fact, I read this week that Augusta and the 10 to 15 wineries that are down south had some sort of special, it's called the AVA. It's like a designation by the government, like this is a certified area that's cool for growing wine or growing grapes that produce wine. And I read this week that we got that designation like 6 to 8 months ahead of Napa Valley, which we all know is a big deal for growing grapes and wineries. But Augusta preceded it. So I guess down there is a really big deal nationally. I didn't realize that they ship wine out of there to Germany, and Germany has labeled the wine that comes out of Augusta like it's gotten all kinds of awards and stuff for being like really, really good wine. Who would have thought in our backyard, right? The goal of the grape, the goal of the gardener is to produce grapes. Do you know it takes 10 years of grape growing before good wineries will accept the grapes and produce them into wine? So you can get grapes on year 1, year 2, year 3. They actually say it's year 3 before they'll taste like anything you want to eat. First couple of years, they're bitter, they're small. You can eat them, but they're not very good. It takes 3 years to get something you might like. It takes 10 years before they would look at that grape and go, we're going to put it in our wine. Wow, didn't know that. The goal of the gardener is to produce grapes that are edible. You know that there are leaves on these grape vines, but the goal isn't to grow leaves. That's not the goal. The goal isn't to look good. The goal is to produce grapes that are edible. That's what the gardener wants to do. What's the goal of the grape? Goal of the grape, I'm going to show you in just a moment, is just to hang on. The grape isn't sitting here spinning and going, oh man, I hope I end up being edible. Grapes don't do that. Grapes are just trying to hang on. Jesus, walking through on his way to the cross, his guys in tow, is wanting to communicate. He'll think about last words. If you had a week to live, if you, honestly, I'm not making it up, if you knew this was your last week, if you knew you had 5 days, if you knew Friday was your last day, your mind would be preoccupied with, what do I want to say to whom? What business is left unfinished? What do I need to button up? And Jesus knows the garden is coming. He knows the cross is coming. He's got his 11 guys with him, and he's wanting to say, all right, guys, here's the truth that I need you to know. And we're walking by this valley of grapes, and he uses this opportunity to say, hey, here's the first thing, guys, I want you to understand. There's going to be a lot of fakes out there, but I'm the real deal. He goes on and he says, my Father is the gardener. God the Father is the one who is overseeing this garden of grapes, if you will, and he has 2 jobs. The gardener has 2 jobs if he's on top of his game. One is, it says, that he removes the fruitless from our lives. What does it say? He prunes every branch that does not bear fruit. He prunes. Prunes, interesting word. As I said, it just means to remove, to cut away, to clean, so that that which remains, you want to eat. This branch right here is attached to a bigger vine. And my understanding is what will happen if left to their own devices is branches want to sag. Branches love being on the ground. They actually, all this is learning, so if it's true, what they'll do is they'll hug the ground and they'll send these little things here that you got grapes from into the ground to draw the nutrients from the ground. All the nutrients needed to grow good grapes are in the vine shooting through the branch. But the branch wants to hug the ground. And so what the gardener does, he knows this, and he wants to prune or lift up, that's another word, this branch. And that's why you'll see vineyards with them growing up and tied so that they will grow up and reach towards sun and air and not grow in the dirt. But a gardener comes along and he says, oh man, it says there he prunes, or your version might say he cuts away. And it's sort of interesting. A lot of discussion as I was reading this week. Some think that when God prunes, as you see behind me, it is that he is removing the fruitless. He cuts away that which doesn't produce fruit. Well, what is that? It's an interesting way. My brain went this way, right? Is it people like Judas? Are there people that hang close to God, but they're really not a part of him? Judas knew the words. He knew the vernacular. He hung with Jesus. You would have looked at the 12. If you wanted to have the apostles, disciples all over for a meal with Jesus, you would have included Judas. All outward appearances, that dude was original and real until crunch time. 1 John, the writer there says, there were some that were hanging with us, and then they departed from us. They left us to show that they really weren't with us. Here's the interesting thing. I know some Christians like to use, my word would be, you want to look at the fruit and you want to determine, not real or not. I'm not called to judge where your heart is. How do I know what your heart is? But you know. You know your heart. You know if you're faking it. You know if you're just kind of hanging on the outside. You know if you're being dragged to church or you want to be there. You know, if you want to be a part of a ministry or you're guilted into it, you know your heart. And I'm just telling you that Jesus said to his guys, hey, one of the jobs of God the Father as gardener is he removes the fake. Why does he do that? So that the real might grow. My rose bush, when there were branches that were dying, I would cut them off. Why would I cut them off? Because they would sap energy and they would take nutrients, as sickly as they were, and keep them from going to the healthy. There are things that God does in our lives where you are the real deal. Your heart is right with God. But you know when I clean my rose bushes, I'm cleaning out cobwebs. Spiders will get in there. Bugs will get in there. I'm cleaning out dead leaves that have collected there. I'm cleaning out the junk and the debris so that the plant might thrive. In the same way, I would suggest to you that God as Father comes along, and out of his love for you, you know him, but you know what? We just allow junk to accumulate. You know you do. You know you do, because when it gets cut away, it hurts. And you're like, oh, and I don't know what that might be. Might be a relationship that you know isn't right. Might be a friendship that you know is holding you back. And God's speaking to you, but you keep resisting. Might be a habit. And you know it's not right. You know it's not good for your heart. You know it's not good for you physically. You know it's not good for you spiritually. But you know what? You just don't want to let it go. And God's speaking to you. How does he speak to you? What's the text say? You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. If you jump on down to verse, where am I at? 11? No, 10. If you obey my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have obeyed my Father's commands and remain in his love. God gives us the word to clean us. That's what Sean talked about last week. If you're like me, here's what happens. I can read a text. Our small group is going to look at James, and it's going to talk about favoritism tonight. That's what we're going to do. Would invite you to our house. We're going to have a meal. We're going to talk about what it's like to play favorites. Love to have you there. I can read that text, and I can go, oh, yeah, I shouldn't play favorites, right? It's wrong to have favorites, right? And then go out and somebody give me a big check. Oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe I invite them to the board. Maybe I have a meal with them. Maybe I spend a little more time with them. I'm not playing favorites, right? There are a lot of ways I think God speaks to us, uses the word, but because if your boss is in your face with a finger, you're much more likely to respond. Either you'll step up and do it or you'll quit, right? God doesn't come to you with a finger. Hey, get your act together. Hey, quit that habit. Hey, he's more like a gentle voice that just says, hey man, Mike, remember? Talked about that, thought about that. Hey, this isn't good for you. The job of God the Father is to, I think, the crud in your life, speak to it gently in a way that when he's lifting this branch, he doesn't go, whack. He's just gently bringing that branch up, and he's going to tie it so that it might grow and continue to reach to the sun. So that why? So that, that's a good grape. There's some fruit there that I want. It's the job of the branch. Jesus says that we are the branches. So, branch's job is to remain. 3 times here it says that we are to remain. The word is meno, M-E-N-O. It's a Greek word. It means to hang on to grab hold of. It means to like persist in, not let go. It's the idea that if you ever had something band tied to something else, it's there, right? You band tie two things together, they are not coming apart. Only this is without the external band tie making you. You decide that you want to be band tied to Jesus. He says, everyone who remains in me, verse 4, I will remain in you. And I thought that was cool. Here's the promise, friends, that as you and I stick close to Jesus, Jesus promises to stick close to you. It's the same word. It's the same idea. It's to lean on. It's to be inseparable. Any of you remember this picture? 1992 Olympics. This gentleman right here, figures. This guy right here, I believe it's 400 meters. Trained for the Olympics. Boom, he goes, he's like, I don't know, halfway, 3/4, and he tears his hamstring. Everybody else runs by him. If you remember the scene, he crashes in his lane, and he's laying there just holding his leg in pain, crying. They begin to get the stretchers. They're going to come. They're going to cart him off. This is his dad. His dad was in the stands. His dad jumped out of stands, ran past security to get to his son who had crashed on the track. And he puts his arm around him, and he says, son, he says, they got the stretcher right here. And Derek, the son, says, Dad, I'm finishing this race. And so together, arm in arm, they limp the last quarter of the race so that his son will finish. This is meno. This is lean on. This is cling to. This is persist in. This is I'm not going to quit. That's what that looks like. I think it's interesting that if we miss the part where the Father doesn't come to the Son when he's in agony and pain and lift him up, bring him to his feet, and say, we're going to finish this together, we've missed the better part of that story. Yes, it's cool that the athlete wanted to finish. It's cooler that the dad brushed past every security measure to get to his son to say, you're not going to finish alone. I'm going to run it with you. That's what I think God the Father does, friends. I think he comes alongside us and he says, hey, I know you've been knocked down. I know you got cobwebs. I know you got crud. Man, we can clean that up, but put your arm around me and let's keep going. Let's not quit. That's what it means for branches to remain in the vine. If this branch said, hey, I'm just going to go it alone. I don't need you, vine. Throw in some swear words. I don't need you. I got this. Grapes don't happen. They just won't happen. And here's what I wonder. I wonder if there are folks whose lives have become bitter and hard, and there's no real fruit that nobody wants to be a part of. And you know it, and those around you know it. And you can't figure out what happened, because there was a time when it wasn't like that. But if you're honest about where you are in 2023, there's no fruit hanging that people want to be a part of. And you've simply become detached from the source of life, which is Jesus. The goal is for us to hang in there, to not quit. I read an article, this was interesting. Somebody asked, if I'm not abiding in Jesus, what do I abide in? Where am I going? Right? That's a fair question. If you're not sticking to Jesus, where are you going? Where do people go? Turn to pleasure. Could be porn. Could be relationships you know you're not supposed to be a part of. Could be spending. You spend to make yourself feel better. And so that's why you have a debt. It's not that you don't make enough. It's that you're using those things to try and make your heart feel a little bit better. Happens all the time. Doesn't make you a bad person. Just means you got to be honest and realize it. You might turn to drugs. I do when I look at headlines and I see, hey, an opiate crisis, Missouri one of the leading states in the nation for drug, substance abuse. I honestly ask myself, why? Why do people turn to drugs? Why is alcohol such an issue? Why in the last 3 or 4 months have we seen prominent, like I thought I read that the one NFL assistant coach who passed away just before the holidays, autopsy report came back, it was alcohol poisoning. He died of alcohol poisoning. Guy's 38. How does somebody age 38? Why? I just ask myself why. And I will say this. I think when people go down that path, there's something inside that you're not happy about. And you don't know any other way to deal with it. So you just try and push it down. That's what you do. Man, if I could just drink, if I could just get another high, I don't have to think about it. Until when? Until when? Until you come out of it. And the problem's still there, isn't it? The problem didn't go away, did it? No, you're still facing it. And only next time you need another higher dose to keep getting what you first got. We go other places to hang out, to abide, if we're not in Jesus. It's not like, oh, Jesus, oh, that's no big deal. Just look at your life and say, where am I going? What am I hanging on to? 50 Shades of Grey. Amazed that was like the top selling book for women. And all I do is ask myself, why? Why? Because I would venture to say there's that many women that are what? Unhappy in their marriage? Unhappy in their relationship? Why would so many women want to go there? Because something's lacking here. And until we're willing to be honest and deal with those things, we're going to continue to struggle. And Jesus now saying to his guys, hey, look, I'm offering you an alternative. This tastes good. Some of the other stuff we turn to, doesn't. The morning after, there's not a sweet taste in your mouth, is there? When the bill comes, you don't have a sweet taste in your mouth, do you? Your choice. Life, fruit. All right, so the goal of the vineyard is to grow grapes. That's what we already said. The job of the branch is to stay attached to the vine. Just stay connected to Jesus. I got a lamp. This usually hangs out in my office. It's a cool lamp. It's one of those touch lamps because I'm lazy. I'm lazy now to the point that this is attached to a remote control. So all I have to do is hit a button. I don't even want to touch it anymore. And if you ever drive by here and there's a light on, now I just leave it on. I don't even touch the button, right? The light has a cord. And I do have the cord plugged into a power strip in my office, right? Because I got to get power from this building to this, if you will, branch so that I might get fruit light. Because this is really, really cool. It is. I think it's a cool looking lamp. I picked it out myself. I went to Target. I got the base. And then you had to buy this thing separate. And I just said, you know what? I'm a guy. I can pick out a lampshade. This is not a big deal. Some of you guys I know you're looking at me going like I could never do that. Well, of course you can't, because you don't, but this is not hard. It's really not hard, okay? So, but this does me no good like this, does it? What's the purpose of the lamp? It's to give light. It's the only reason this thing exists. I can put it on my desk. It could be a paperweight. Boom. Right? It could be something to hold magnet. I don't know. But it was designed to give light. Only right now, not giving any light. And so I can plug the dumb thing in to the power strip and go, it's not working. Well, that's, Mike, it's because the power strip isn't plugged in. Son, get a clue. So here's what I would do. I plug it in. I still don't have light. Why don't I have light? Because I'm trying to do it myself. Plug it into myself. That's what I just talked to you about. You're trying to plug into yourself. You're trying to find another source. I need to go to the source of power. If I want light, I've got to get something that's attached to the electricity. It's in this building so that when I turn this on, I have light. Jesus is your light source. Jesus is the power to live life. And there's two things that Jesus says result when we're plugged into him. Okay? Let me give them to you real quickly because I think they're really cool. Why it matters that we stay plugged into Jesus. Because there would be good in your life. There's 3 or 4 times here in the text. If you look at it, I have it highlighted. Jesus talks about bearing fruit. Mike, this is fine. I just can't eat grapes all day. I've got a boss that's a jerk. Eating grapes ain't going to help me with that. My kids are a mess. Eating grapes ain't going to help me with that. No. But staying plugged into Jesus will. Let me give you one passage. James 3. Who's wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in the humility that come from wisdom. James, writing to a group of people, spread all over, said, you need wisdom to live life well. You need wisdom to know how to deal with that boss, deal with your kid, deal with your spouse, deal with your neighbor. That calls forth from something you might not have. The natural byproduct, when a coach screams at me, is to scream back. And if I wouldn't be fined, I might say some words to him that he said to me. Somebody does something to you on the highway in the car, turn down, gives you a piece of a finger. Natural reaction is what? I'm going to give right back, right? Wisdom says, man, is there another way to live life? James 3, then he goes on down and he says the wisdom that comes from heaven, first of all, is pure. It's peace-loving. It's considerate. It's submissive. It's full of mercy and, I thought that was interesting, good fruit. Impartial, sincere, peacemakers who sow in peace reap a harvest of righteousness. One of the benefits of staying connected to Jesus is out of your life there's a sweetness in how you handle things that aren't going your way. There's a second benefit that I want to leave you with of being connected to Jesus. And I think there's more love in your relationships and there's less drama. Look what Jesus says, as the Father has loved me, verse 9, so I've loved you. Now remain in my love. If you obey my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have obeyed my Father's commands and remain in his love. And I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. I think that when we stay connected to Jesus, there's just enough crap and crud in the world in relationships. And let it begin with us that we put an end to it. Let it be by our response to injustice. Let it be by our, and I mean not injustice in the world, injustice when you just get treated unfairly at Target. When you feel like you're trying to be taken advantage of, how do you respond? There's enough pain in the world when there's gossip and backstabbing going on and probably going on in your family, and you have a choice, how will you respond? Somebody hurts you in your family. They say something to you. They do something to you behind your back. How will you respond? And I find that often we can be guilty of responding just like everybody else. And then people go, well, what difference does Christianity make? I don't see any difference. And I don't think it's because of the vine. I think it's because we, as branches, have gotten detached. And there's nothing here that people want. And I'm just telling you, this is good stuff. And you show me somebody acting in peace. And you show me somebody treating others with kindness. And when they've been wrong, responding with patience and persistence. You show me that kind of person, I want that. You show me somebody who just responds in kind, what's the big deal about that? There's no real big deal in there, is there? Those of you who are bosses, how do you treat those under you? You've got people under your care. You are responsible for them. They don't do the job you want them to do. Doesn't mean that there aren't times when maybe you've got to prune, you're going to cut back, but how do you get there? Those of you who are employees, and you've got an unrighteous boss, and they ask things of you. They suggest, they demean. How do you respond? Do you go gossip? Do you go whoop, 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 behind backs? You look for solutions. How do you respond? You respond in a way that's sweet and leaves people going, man, I want some of that. Oh, that's just like a raisin. I don't want a raisin. Oh, that's ugly tasting. Dave and team are coming up. I want to leave you with a story. In the medical world, I learned that there's a term called FTT. It's usually diagnosed among newborns and children. Does anybody know what FTT stands for? Failure to thrive. It means when they look at a child and the child is not growing like it should. It's not in the metrics. Its height, its weight. It's failing to thrive. That's a medical term. And I wonder, well, they say that oftentimes when that's happening, they trace it back and they look to the caregiver, to the parent, to the grandparent, and see, is there stuff going on there? Are they healthy? Are they depressed? Are they taking care of the child? Because again, the child is what? Totally dependent on the parent and the caregiver for life. What about the church? Would you say, if you honestly examined your life, that you are failing to thrive? Because Jesus came to give us life, and to give us life abundantly. Jesus came so that these grapes would taste good. But if you took a look at your life, there's not much grapes there that people want to eat. Are you failing to thrive? Well, what would have to change? One, are you connected to Jesus? Do you know him? Are you in a relationship with him? Have you been Judasing it? Have you been looking good on the outside, but you know in your heart there's nothing real there? Two, have you become detached and you're trying to do it on your own? You're trying to live life on your own apart from Christ? Is it time to allow the Father to pick you back up, nurse you, as Jim Redmond did with his son, put his arm around you and say, come on, man, let's walk for a while? Are you willing to take and confess what's going on there and say, God, would you just take and work in my heart? I don't like where I am. I want to move differently. Would you start today? Could that be you? So that we have a church that's thriving. We have a church where there's peace, where in your soul there's good stuff going on. That's God's desire for you. Father, I pray that you might help us take these words to heart, help us understand what it means in our context, because we're all different. We're wired differently, and so I ask, Father, that you might show us. If there's somebody here that needs to just be picked up, Father, I pray they might know that you stand ready to do that, and that would be expressed through someone that loves them coming alongside. If there's someone listening to the words today and they've never put their hope and their trust in you, Jesus, I pray that would happen. I ask that through your Spirit, you might help them say, yeah, there's something there. Maybe they'll investigate. Maybe they'll dig a little deeper. Maybe today they'll put their hope in you for the first time. I know you love us. I know you want the best for us. In your name we pray. Amen. Hey, stand and sing with these guys.
Heaven thundered, and the world was full. Life begins and ends in the dust you formed. Fate commanded, and the mountains moved. Fear is losing ground to our hope in you. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name, they shall be done. Freedom conquered, all our chains undone. Sin defeated, Jesus has overcome. Mercy triumphed when the third day dawned. Darkness was denied when the storm was gone. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name, they shall be done. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name, they shall be done. Nothing shall be impossible. Your kingdom reigns unstoppable. We'll shout your praise forevermore. Jesus, our God, unstoppable. Nothing shall be impossible. Your kingdom reigns unstoppable. We'll shout your praise forevermore. Jesus, our God, unstoppable. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name, they shall be done. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name, they shall be done.
Down there, left. If you're heading out of here, you're going to go that way, and I'll just see y'all when I see you. Take care. Have a great week.
Pizza and grapes now, right?
I got to pick them up, and I'll step on them. That'll happen.
Come on, everybody, looking for the way. Come on, everybody. The verdict was